Today, I want to talk a little bit about GLP-1s and about people's personal opinions, some of that kind of stuff. So, I have some clients who have found that lots of people have opinions. And I think we all know that people have many opinions about many things and that they sometimes differ from ours. When it comes to weight loss, we already have a lot of opinions about ourselves, about how we got there and what we're doing or not doing to get out of it. There's a lot of shame, a lot of guilt wrapped up into it. And so when I talk with people, whether they've been my clients or just people who talk to me about it, I get to hear so much about what's being said, so much about public opinion, and definitely about our inner thoughts. So recently, someone came to me, and I've had a few of these instances. So let me try to keep my brain straight on who said what. Somebody said that they had been trying to lose weight for years and that now people are doing it easy because of all of these GLP-1s. And what I hear is that if she had said that to a person who was using a shot or even considering using a shot or some kind of medical help, is that that's not okay and that they shouldn't be using that. But what I hear the person who said that say is that there's some kind of a social stigma and it's all tied into that guilt and shame that you got yourself into this, so you should get yourself out. It's the easy way to use a GLP-1. It's not the easy way. You still are going to be doing some work. You're still going to be figuring out your eating. You're still going to have to learn how to take care of yourself. And yet you're using a GLP-1. And so I help women who use those. I also help women who don't. I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to use it or not use it. That is not good or bad. And so we're just going to do with what works for you. And they don't work for everybody. Losing weight without them doesn't work for everybody. We can figure things out for you regardless of what your circumstances are. And so when I coach women, I want to make sure that we are always steering clear of guilt and shame. Society, ourselves, there's so much pressure on us. We don't need to add to that. And so, one of the things I always bring up, a lot of other conditions are also things that you could have physically had control over. Sometimes genetic, but also weight gain can be genetic too. And so, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, so many of those are going to be also affected if you eat better, move better, drink more water, sleep more, like manage your stress. And yet we don't have a stigma when those diagnoses are taking medication. Nobody says that you're taking the medication away from a diabetic, like they do with the GLP-1s. Like nobody gets upset when you turn to a medication to get help to get your body resituated again. It's just part of your health. And so weight loss has such a stigma of shame that you did this. You overate. You're gluttonous. You almost deserve to be punished and have it be hard to get yourself out of this situation. We bring in things like willpower and if you want it bad enough and discipline. And those things are just more pressure. I know as a child, I was a little rebellious. I'm still rebellious as an adult, and I am very attuned to when people are trying to shame me. And I can shame myself better than anyone. I don't need help in that department. And most of the clients I have also, same thing. So when someone is saying this, any of the opinions about the GLP-1s or how you're losing weight, that's about them. So recently I coached a client and they have a family event coming up. And we were kind of just chatting because they have a particular family member and they're in healthcare, that family member is. And so they think it's their personal mission to talk to um, my client when they're at any family event about their weight. And so when they come to them, it's always very loving. Like it's like their due diligence that they need to make sure that you're taking care of your health and your weight, because if not, then that's their thought that I don't care enough to say something. So they make sure they say something. And so we were talking about what if you go into this situation and you get feedback like you've lost a lot of weight. You're doing a great job. What are you going to make that mean? And I bring this up for a big reason because when we talk about each other's bodies, and we get excited when people are having like something they're focused on happen, right? And so if they're focusing on losing weight and that's happening, we want to comment. We want to be excited with them, but we don't know how the other person's interpreting it. And so when this person says, you've lost a lot of weight. Are you going to hear it as it's about time? You were so unacceptable before. Like, what are you going to hear it as? And so when you're commenting on people, their body or things like that, it's a proceed with caution. Let them bring it up first, is what I would recommend because you don't know how they're interpreting it. And you might fully, like this particular family member, I think that she really means well, that she loves her, it's her sister. So that loves her sister and wants to be helpful, but you don't know how they're going to take it. And so the other flip side of that, I asked, how would you respond or how would you take it if your sister says, I thought you would have lost more weight by now? And so I help my coaching clients also prepare for either side of that conversation. So we prepare for a lot of things. We prepare for a day, a busy schedule, a vacation, how to get yourself to want to do the things, the habits. Water and sleep, eating when you're hungry, stopping at enough, those sound easy enough, but getting us to want to do that, right? Getting us to want to try to maybe skip a nighttime dessert, getting us to maybe want to try to have a new meal or a vegetable or make a plan for something. I work with a lot of that. And so we talked about like, well, what would you say if that's what they said? And they were really good about, I would say, well, I'm losing it at the speed that my doctor's happy with. I think that I'm doing the things and it's happening. I'm losing fairly consistently and I'm learning. And I think that's great. I did talk to them about you actually do not need to feel required to offer any of that as a comment. Um, you get to accept or deny people entrance into your private information. And just because they're your sister or because they seem to act like they care about you does not mean they get to have that information. You get to decide. You're the gatekeeper. You get to decide who gets to come in and know about your personal information. And so that's empowering too, just knowing that you could share or you could just be like, that's a thought. That's that. Thank you. Thank you for thinking of me. That's what I always say. Back when my sister passed away, people would say things that were not kind and they smiled like they thought it was like a genuine, caring, compassionate comment. And so I learned very quickly to just smile back and say, thank you for thinking of me, because some of the things they said were absolutely not helpful and probably made it a little harder in the moment for me, but like they were thinking that it was probably going to be good. And so thank you for thinking of me. And that's what I would say to them. So circling back, I work with clients on their opinions of the GLP-1s. I work on their weight loss, on getting them the healthy habits. And a lot is with relationships, relationships with themselves and relationships with other people. We have a lot of thoughts circling in our head. We have a lot of opinions. Let's make sure that the opinions that we have are serving us and not collecting other people's opinions that don't. If you have more questions, I would be glad to answer them. That's just what's been brought up this week. All righty. I hope that you are following and getting the podcast each week. If not, go to coachingkara.com and sign up for any freebie that I have. Sign up for the weekly podcast release emails, and I will see you next week. Have a good one.